All right, welcome to the end of day recap for Tuesday, and I'm staring at a chart of Apple. Uh, Today's video a little bit later because we were waiting for the Apple results. Um, you know, they they did not have as good of results as initially was expected. They did authorize a big buyback and dividend, so the name's holding in there. This is kind of what we thought. I think in the trading room for the most part, the name has run up a little bit. I was expecting a little bit of a move down, and then probably buyers will come in the next couple days. I would think for the name. I think people are more. Uh, the number the headline number of what they make is just unbelievable in terms of billions of dollars, and I think people are just really more fixated on what their new products are going to be, new products and services. So I just don't see that much of a move back. Of course it ran into the quarter just like a lot of the other FANG stocks did as well. Keep in mind we have Facebook tomorrow, which has also run like crazy into earnings. I'm not going to be looking to go long Facebook. I don't think I really want to fade it necessarily either, but I mean, this thing is as extended as they come into earnings. It's an 85 RSI. So, no, thank you there. In terms of the overall market, we'll just kind of go over some themes of the day. Auto sales continue to be weak. So we'll talk about the major indices in just one second. But GM, Ford, basically across the board. I didn't look at every name that reported because usually there's a couple that do better. But Ford, GM, I don't know, maybe everybody's waiting to buy a Tesla. Nobody wants to buy one of these cars. But this is the second month in a row that they've been basically a disaster in terms of sales. So something to keep an eye on. I know people look at this in terms of what they of the overall consumer. We have been seeing a downtick the last couple weeks in terms of economics. So we've got two more events for the week in the U.S. I think anyway, two more key events. We've got the Fed meeting tomorrow, which is not a I don't want to say not a live meeting, but there's only about a 12-13% chance that they raise interest rates tomorrow, based on what Fed fund futures are implying. It's really what they're expecting for June, which is now you could see June is a 67% chance. It was actually at a 70% chance earlier, so it's come in a little bit. I would expect language to be released tomorrow. Things like, of course, data dependent, but maybe I'm thinking that they might be a little bit hawkish. I think they want to prepare everybody for a June rate hike. They may talk about how many. So things that they may talk about, again, I'm not a mind reader, but just based on the pace of other meetings, possibly giving us a glimpse of how many more times they're going to be looking to raise interest rates while keeping the same disclaimer that they're going to be data dependent. Maybe they talk a little bit. I would also look to see if they think that there's a soft patch in the last couple sets of data. We started to see that about a month ago with those auto sales as well as the job report. So that leads us to the next job report, which will be on Friday. So that'll really be, they may kind of really want to be a little bit vague until they see how this jobs report is. I think if it's another stinker of a report, they're going to have a hard time raising rates. But so what are they expecting for Friday, by the way? I know I'm jumping ahead because this is a couple days away, but we're expecting 190,000. If we beat this number clear and easy, then I think you could definitely expect a rate hike coming in June. If we have some kind of a stinker of a report like we saw last time, where it's like 150 or below, then I don't know. Maybe you don't see a rate hike. But anyway, that's the key events. Just jumping into the technicals, the S&P has kind of been just hanging out here and stalling a bit. Doesn't look like we want to really move ahead of this resistance yet. Again, with those events that I just mentioned, kind of makes sense to me. We do pause going into events all the time. Then also besides what's going on in the U.S., but you also have the second round of the French election. So I think we kind of stay in here for a little while. I think we could also push back a little bit to the 2364, sorry, in the S&P futures, or if you're looking at SPY, basically 236. If you get a pullback, I think it'll be a great buying opportunity around there. This is just what is the exact same thing that I said in the weekend video. So nothing really changes here. Qs have continued to be strong, but they've been looking toppy for over a week now. Of course, the trend is your friend. Watch that 5 period exponential moving average. Once that breaks, I would say maybe Qs get a little bit of a pullback further again today. You kind of have a little bit of a hammer bar, not a hammer bar, a shooting star bar for today. So maybe that's a signal. It doesn't look exactly the same in futures, but at Qs, I guess you could maybe make that conclusion. IWM, which has had a little bit of volatility. This started on Friday after it was outperforming in the beginning of last week. Starting on Friday, we've started to see a little bit of volatility come in, a little bit of volatility in there today. And depending on the sector, first of all, let's just talk about energy. The API numbers did come out after hours, and they were a big drawdown, so which is a plus because just the price action in oil lately has been pretty ugly. So we did get down to 47.5. You could see that we're rallying after hours with the API inventory numbers. Also keep in mind that you have the Department of Energy numbers as well tomorrow, which will get overshadowed because of the Fed announcement. Besides that, biotech really got smoked today. I didn't really understand, other than it kind of hit some key resistance up here in the XBI ETF. But you could see this was the worst performing sector. So forget about anything else, in terms of energy and some other things. Biotech was the worst performer, down almost, at one point was down over 2%, came back a little bit, but it looks like we ran right into this resistance. I thought we were actually going to be able to break out here, but it looks like we've stalled. Let's see what else. Solar names were really strong today. And we saw First Solar out with earnings after the close today. Really, some really nice numbers. They beat, whoops, wrong symbol. That's not the right symbol. FSLR. You could see that they close at 30.32. They're up to 32.85. They beat on the bottom line, the top line. Also, their guidance was pretty good. So start to look at some names here in this space. I was looking. Some of these names already rallied based on their number. CSIQ. If you're looking to get in this space, it's now above the 200-day moving average. I might look to start a position in this tomorrow. One smaller name that's been rallying pretty hard is JASO. Well above the 200-day moving average now. This name should be up again tomorrow on the First Solar results. We'll talk about the good first because there wasn't that much of it. FireEye also had good numbers. Weight Watchers also had good numbers. They kind of looked at the same charts. And then on the downside, just a slew of names, a little bit different than the trend that we've seen so far for earnings releases. Earnings have been pretty good. MasterCard reported this morning. Up until about today, looking at a couple names really getting blown out. Twilio, I think you probably know about AMD by now, getting absolutely smoked. There was, if you're holding out some type of hope for AMD here, after a 24% move, it did hit this version point of control. A lot of times, once we get outside, either up or down, in this case down below the value area, the price wants to gravitate to something once, and it usually looks for where a lot of buyers and sellers have previously met up and have never gone back to. So that's right around 1053. I actually took advantage of that and structured a put trade. I sold right at the kind of the end of the day. I did a June put sale of the 1110s. So Tribeca Trade members got that alert today. So going out a couple months and seeing if this thing will kind of hold around the 200-day moving average, in the next month and a half. So I like that trade after a big move, 24% down after taking out this virgin point of control. Again, a lot of times it'll act like a magnet. Price will act as a magnet and then kind of move back away, which I don't know for sure is going to happen, but I like the fact that we don't have any major targets except for down here. Also, just look at it this way. For AMD, it was down to 24%, but keep in mind, this is a stock that was $7 back at the in December. So it has doubled. 100% gain from December to now. So, if the earnings can't back up the move of 100% gain in 4 months, these things will come down just as quickly as they went up if they can't substantiate it with earnings. Other names that got beat up after, I'm not going to go through all these charts. I talked about Twilio, Etsy, Gilead, Haynes, Akamai, VIAV, FMC, Mosaic was this morning. All those names got are moving to the downside pretty hard. So it's not the same picture, I think, and one of the things as a trader is you always have to adjust to new information. So with that said, I'm not going to overanalyze any more charts. We've got the Fed meeting tomorrow and we've got jobs number. I've been pretty bullish all along with seeing a lot with as long as economics were strong, as long as things were strong. I still am, but I don't want to use that term cautiously bullish or something like that. I pay very close attention to the 50-day moving average again. I think it's very easy, as I mentioned to members today, to do some hedging. The advantage of the VIX down as low as it is, which it was up today a little bit, but again, you look at the VIX and I mean, up 4% today is basically nothing. But it's very cheap to either hedge your portfolio right now or if you don't want to take positions off, you can easily put on some protection right now if you think things are turning a little bit in terms of what we are seeing, or if you're a little bit afraid of the Fed meeting, the jobs numbers, and the French election. You could put on some really cheap protection right now, or even try to play a little bit of volatility to the upside. So those are things that I see right now. Try to be as objective as possible with the price action. Am I kind of jumping the gun a little bit, because there's nothing that's really telling me other than my personal beliefs that we're going, we might have a little bit of a move down. But watch the trend lines, watch your support levels, and just go from there. Let the price be your guide, as a lot of the things that I've talked about are just things that I think might happen, or things to be a little bit cautious of this week with those events. So thanks for watching tonight's video, and have a great evening. See you back tomorrow morning.